Hi, and welcome to your energy art reading for the first week in May. My name's Vicky Paul, and I'm delighted to share this space with you. I'm an intuitive and an artist, and I use creativity to connect with energy universally, collectively, and also on a one-to-one basis to bring through channeled messages, wisdom, guidance, healing, and really just to help you reconnect with the truth of who you are. And I wanted to start doing some online weekly and monthly intuitive energy art readings to not only share what I do as an intuitive artist, but to help you in your day-to-day life. And this is for the week beginning the 6th of May 2024, and we are going to be looking at lots of different energies. For example, I had some storm clouds coming up, so we'll be looking at some storm clouds. I got the word mother. I got the song 9 Million Bicycles in Beijing. Fire. And also, which one will I do? I've got a wee handbag here. So stick around if you want to know what these mean. And I had a really great idea from my husband who said, why don't you share a time lapse of how you bring and channel through all this information and all these symbols, which I have done, and it's coming up in a wee minute, but just to let you see, this is how they all come through. So I draw them all on a big piece of paper, and then I write everything down on cards or pieces of paper so that I can show you. So here is the time lapse. So now that you see how I channel the messages, and this is something actually you can do at home, and maybe that is for a separate video, let's crack on with the reading. So the first thing that came through was the word stop. There we go, it's just the light shining on it. So the word stop, and for me, it feels that there's a number of different energies around this. It feels that you have to stop doing something. There's something that you're doing that is not for your greatest good this week, and I want you to just stop doing it. The other energy that's coming through is that something or someone will stop you in your tracks. So something or someone is going to stop you in your tracks this week. And stop also feels to me that the energy of enough is enough. It's time to down tools and either rest and relax or just stop on that path. And it feels like for some of you, you'll be heading along a path that's just not right for you. So this is a sign from the universe to say, stop, enough's enough. The next image that came through was that of a handbag. Believe it or not, that's a handbag. And I feel with this energy that you're carrying an awful lot this month, or this week rather. And it may well spill into this month because readings, the energy does work, either side of the week. But I feel that this is also to do with baggage. It feels like you're carrying a lot of baggage. And I want to say that this energy is calling you to release some of this baggage. It could also be that you bought a new handbag, which is just lovely, or you're into bags, but I feel that it's more than that. It's about what is in the bag. And you know how sometimes we carry so much in our bags and we don't empty them out, we just keep chucking stuff in and they get heavier and heavier and heavier. And when you actually have a clear out, you find things in there. So I feel that some of you will also be doing that, and you might find some interesting things in your bag, but this is much more around the energy of looking at the baggage that you're carrying, and it's maybe time to stop carrying that baggage. It's time to address and process and let go the baggage that you're carrying, because there is a strong possibility that it's going to come up this week and you're going to recognize that because we're moving into this sort of spring-like energies, there is definitely a call to let go and move forward. It's definitely something around baggage. I then got the symbol of the earth. And I drew these arrows because it felt like the earth was spinning. So I feel that this is about not only carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. So some of you will feel this week that you have huge burdens on you, and this could be tied into the baggage. It feels that the weight of the world is on your shoulder. But I also feel that this is travel. So some of you will be traveling or thinking about traveling, and this could be with work or personally. And it's not just physical travel, as in going somewhere. And because it's the globe, it feels like this is long distance travel. I also feel that this is travel in the mind. And I feel that some of you will start to daydream again, and start to really envisage where you want to travel mentally as well as physically. So some of you will be doing some sort of spiritual journey, some spiritual inquiry. But also I feel that this is also representative of the energy that, you know, the world's kind of on a shaky pedal at the moment. And that's kind of what it feels like. And this collective energy of the world is really on its axis and it's changing. It could well be that your world is going to change direction as well. So lots of different energies coming through with that. And I feel like I'm going to come back to that. I then got the word toddler. So that will be relevant to some of you. And again, these are general readings, so take what resonates. It could well be that there is a toddler in your life that is causing you some challenges, or they are your whole world. Again, tying into the world. This toddler is your whole world. Of course, they will be. But I also feel that this is slightly more to do with, for the most of us, because not everybody will have toddlers in their life, I feel this is about being childlike, and going back to that childlike energy. But toddlers tend to kind of stumble and fumble their way around, and they're in at everything. And I feel that there'll be a call this week to be a bit more playful, to start to stagger about and look where you're going. And it doesn't matter if you're not sure-footed. It's just about going for it and just exploring. And it's just said to me, but don't stick your fingers in a socket. You know how you always say that toddlers don't stick fingers in sockets? You know, so explore, be adventurous like a toddler is, and stumble and fall and pick yourself back up, and just be a bit more, I want to say, energetic in your choices. I then got the energy of a frying pan. This is not the best drawing of a frying pan. And the energy that came through to me is that this is a feeling of going out the frying pan into the fire. And incidentally, I also got the symbol of a fire later on. So I feel that for some of you anyway, it will feel like you're being thrown out of the frying pan and into the fire. And that means to me that something big is happening. And it's not something that's going to be necessarily comfortable or that you're going to invite. And it could well be back to this energy that's going to stop you in your tracks. I then got the song, There Are 9 Million Bicycles in Beijing. That's a fact. And two things came to mind when this tune came through to me, is that the 9 million, there are so many bicycles in Beijing. You know, there are so many people. And we forget this. We forget that we are collectively connected to one another. We often focus on ourselves. And I feel that this is very much a reminder that we're all in it together. And I've just got this image of all these bicycles cycling all over the place and all these people all coming together. And I lived in London for a wee while, and I always found it amazing that in the morning in the rush hour, all these bicycles will just appear onto the cycle path and come out of pavements and come out of roads. And everybody just mostly, for the most part, all manage to filter in and just find their path. And, you know, if you've ever watched the Tour de France, all these cyclists just stand, you know, cycle in behind one another so close and using one another's energy and the wind and the drift that comes off them to propel them along. So I feel with this, it's very much a reminder that we can go a lot further when we have a tribe or a pack around us and we remember that. But I also feel that the word fact came through really strongly. And I feel that some of you are going to be defending yourself this week and saying, look, this is fact. And you're going to be working out what is fact, what is fiction, and what is fact and the truth for you. Because there are 9 million bicycles in Beijing, and that's all facts. There's 9 million facts. So it's working out what is your fact. I then got the word mother. So this is relevant to me as well. So this could also be coming through for me. But I feel that the mother and toddler are definitely connected. There's a definite connection to these two energies, because the mother energy is a very protective energy and naturally wants to take care of and look after and prevent the toddler from injuring themselves or hurting themselves. But I feel this is about taking a step back and being nurturing from a distance. It could also be that some of you, and again, because this is a general reading, this is not going to resonate with everyone. It could well be that some of you have just become new mothers, or you are thinking about starting a family, or there's something going on with your mother, whether that's a health issue or something energetically there with your mother that's taking up some of your head and heart space. I then got storm clouds. Now, it's been raining cats and dogs here in England. It's not been the best of weather recently, but I feel this is much more a collective thing. So whilst this could be about the climate and what's happening with the climate, I actually feel that this is about the energy of storms. And it feels like, and again, because I got the world come through, it feels that this is much more expansive, is that with the storm energy, the storms are a release of energy, and the rain and the thunder and the lightning are a release of built up energy. And it feels like there's been a strong build up collectively and individually. And it feels like this week is going to burst, which can be turbulent. Storms are not easy to navigate, and they can be really, really tricky and overwhelming. And I also feel that because there's rain, I feel that there's tears. So it could well be that there's a storm brewing inside of you and you just burst, and it all comes out. So I want you to be aware of that. I want you to be aware of that energy within yourself. But also when the storms and the clouds burst and it rains, what happens is that all that energy clears and everything becomes much clearer and much lighter. So it might be a bit turbulent this week for some of you, but hold it in your head and your heart that what comes up, let it go. It's a good thing. It's going to clear the air, whether this is between you and another person, just something that you've been holding on to, this baggage that perhaps, excuse me, it's sticking to my desk, is going to be, when you look at it, it's going to come out and there's going to be a bit of storm clouds, bit of tears coming out. But once you process it and release it, things will be a lot calmer and a lot clearer. I then got the word birdsong, which makes complete sense because after a storm, there's always lovely, beautiful birdsong. And there's been a huge feeling of nature and nature's energy in not only the May reading that I did. If you haven't seen that, please check it out. It's for the month of May. But birdsong is beautiful. It's one of nature's gifts. And I feel it's a very fresh energy. And I also feel there's a lot of lightness to it. And it's the energy of coming together, coming out of hibernation, coming out of those dark storm times. But it's also light and frivolous. And I feel that that's, for some of you, the energy that you're needing, that there is more lightness and more openness needed, and it will come this week. I then got the image of, or the word carousel came through, and this is supposed to be a carousel image in Instagram. I didn't know how else to draw carousel, but this came through. So I'm assuming there's something to do with social media in there. Otherwise, I would have drawn the carousel. But also it feels that when you have the carousel images on Instagram, you've got the first image and then people have to swipe to see either more images associated with whatever it is you're sharing, or there's an unfolding of the story. And I feel that for some of you, you either are not sharing all of your story, so you're not sharing all of who you are with yourself and with other people. So I feel that you need to share more of yourself so that people get a better and clearer understanding of who you are, what it is that you want, and what you're trying to say. But I also feel that this energy is about you also not knowing the full story. And carousel and social media, in Instagram rather, has 10 images, I think. There's only 5 here. So it feels like only half the story. You're only getting to half the truth, half the story. I then got the word heathen. Now, the energy that came through with this is one of a really dated outlook. And I feel that there are a lot of people collectively who have a really dated outlook on life, outlook on themselves. They're holding on to past, their past, the past, outdated ways of living, ways of thinking, ways of being. So I don't feel it's as much about the actual word as the energy around it. So you may find that you encounter some people this week who have a very outdated outlook on life. So just to be aware of that. And that's all to do with them and not to do with you. But sometimes it can be tricky to navigate that. So try not use those storm clouds to process any of those interactions, and be a bit lighter and use that bird song if you come across anyone whose energy is like that. I then got the image of a plane doing acrobat kind of whoop-de-whoops. Is that a word? Whoop-de-whoop? That's what it feels like. And I feel this, again, is tied in with the toddler energy. There's just this call this week to be a bit more adventurous and, just go for it. There's also that energy just coming through as well about life. It feels like it's going round and round and up and down and up and down. And, when you do loop to loop, you go upside down and then you maybe feel a wee bit sick and then you come back down and then you feel giddy and it's wonderful. And then you get back up and it's, oh my God, here we go. And then you come all the way back down again. So I feel for some of you next week, the week of the 6th of May is going to feel like that. It's going to be highs and lows. You're going to be giddy and then you're going to be feeling sick to the pit of your stomach. But it's overall, it's an adventure and it's about you just going for it and having fun and being adventurous. And again, it's tied in with this toddler energy. Then I got some music notes and I was just hearing generally music. So music and sound are a very emotive are very emotive to us, not only just the energy resonance and the frequency and the vibration in our bodies, but also the memories of particular songs, albums, that kind of thing. So it may well be that you hear a piece of music this week that's going to take you back to some time in your life that's either going to be a really fond memory or it's going to be associated with this baggage, and it's going to start the process to help you release this baggage. And also, just coming through when I'm talking about this, perhaps if you are struggling to access that baggage, listen to some music. Use music as a tool to help you energetically move to that space that you need to go through. The word craving then came through, and I feel that this has got to do with the energies which I spoke about in the general the month of May reading, is this kind of cleansing and renewal that some of you will be going on and cleansing and healing yourself from the inside out with the food that you eat and that kind of thing. I feel this week there's going to be some cravings for some of the naughty stuff. So some sugar, the alcohol, all of the stuff that you're trying to clear out your system. But also, as you start to do that energy clearing and process some of that baggage, what is it that you crave? Because I feel for some of you, there has been a bit of a fog around that. These kind of storm clouds have really obscured what it is that you crave now. Because what we craved a year ago, 5 years ago, when we were 15, is not necessarily what we crave now. And some of you will be reassessing that and understanding what is it that your desires are calling you towards now. I then got the symbol of a fire, and fire for me is very much about life, about renewal, about letting go. And it can also be very meditative in terms of just staring at it and transfixing. Now, I've lit candles, which I always do before I connect to the energy. So it has a huge potential to help you connect with universal energy. It may well be that some of you are actually putting fires on. Certainly the weather has dipped here this week. I'm recording this just at the weekend before the 6th of May, and it's been pretty cool. But I feel it's much more about the energy of what is burning within you. What are you craving? And also, what do you need to let go to allow those cravings to come through? And the last energy that, or the image that came through, is the energy of celebration. These are two glasses, and they're sort of cheersing, or cheersing. That's what we say in the UK. Cheers. So they're connecting off one another, and I feel this real energy of celebration. So it could well be that for some of you, you are celebrating something this week, or there is something to celebrate this week. And it could well be that you are catching up with friends, because the energy feels, although I only drew two glasses, the energy feels much more than just a couple of people. So it feels that there'll be some celebrations this week, which is a lovely energy. And the other thing that's interesting is that I got 16 images. Now, I don't do numerology. I'm not a numerologist. So the number 16 may mean something to you. There's 4 rows of 4. So I'm going to share that with you in case that resonates. And I know that sometimes people, if you work with numerology, 16, goes down to number 7. So it could well be that there's something happening on the 7th of May. And that's a significant date. So I'm going to share that because it's just come through to me. So yeah, that is your energy art reading for the first week in May. Well, kind of the first week in May, week beginning the 6th of May. Thank you very much for watching. As ever, if this has resonated with you, I'd really appreciate if you could like, share and subscribe, because I'm trying to grow this channel, and also it helps me know that what I'm doing is connecting with you. So thank you. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.